You noble diggers, all stand up now.
Hello my friends, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about what will judicial powers be like after the revolution.
Bench. Though it is my earnest wish ever to temper justice with mercy, your persistent dedication to a life of crime is an abomination before God and man. I therefore sentence you to hang by the neck until you're dead, and may the Lord have mercy on your soul. Court is adjourned.
I'm going to stray a little bit into what the judiciary is going to be like generally, though I will save more of that for a later video because it crosses into municipal politics, right? In the States, the judges are elected, and in Canada and the Commonwealth, they are appointed. Appointed is obviously the better system. The infinite videos of illiterate judges in America violating their oaths of office because of their ignorance is beyond contempt, beneath contempt. However, today we're going to be talking about judicial powers mostly, right? Which means the powers that they have while they sit on that bench, on that throne of theirs, right? But today I also am going to take the opportunity to do a little housekeeping for the channel. There is a plan, not just a plan for the future, but a plan for the channel. And this is the outline of the plan. At 25 subscribers, I'm going to let you all in on what the implementation plan is, right? There is a way to get this done in 2 or 3 years without, having to build a party from scratch, or having to do a mass mobilization movement, or having to do a general strike, which is the plan of the UAW in 2028. I don't think any of these are going to work. I think the capitalist class is so powerful, so ruthless, so open in their disregard for human life that we're walking into gunfire, right? I'm not getting out of the trench unless I can take the next one. At 100 subscribers, I will reveal how the Constitution should be written, in my view, in this constitutional convention that will be required by the admittance of so many states into America. I've written one. I've based it largely on the American model. I have changed very few things, but what I have changed is to attempt to create a workable alternative, but not changing many things is for the institutional buy-in of the hogs of the Midwest. They will need to accept this in their hearts, right? And so the words that were used before will have to be parroted here or there, right? The right to assemble, the right to free speech. These things cannot be callously tossed aside just because I think they're imperfectly conveyed as to what the delineations are on their extremities, right? Are on their use to the citizen, are on their rights of the citizen, right? All this planning makes me embarrassed. I want to restate what I said in the first episode of this channel, which is that I am embarrassed speaking into a camera. It's dishonorable. I don't want power. The show that I keep bringing up, called Yes Minister, right, has a bit near the first couple episodes where they talk about power like a greasy pole, right? All the rats just want to climb the greasy pole, and it's just going to dirty you, to sully you in the attempt, and you're going to just slide back down, right? And it's a good metaphor, but I don't want power, right? I don't want to climb the pole because it's there as the the minister character from Yes Minister says, right? I have to climb it. It's there. That's what he says. Right? I don't. But the pole is tipping over. It's going to crush 8 billion children. It's my duty to make sure that pole stays up. And if I have to climb it, then I will. But I don't want power, and the plan is detailed enough that I should not be involved in any office holding, right? I don't need to be. The Gestalt can handle once I've set up the system, once I've set up the parameters for the new system, that you'll all figure it out. Judicial powers. I really don't like the judiciary in the Commonwealth of His Majesty or in the United States of America. And it's basically, I see what the French did in the 1800s, and they reformed themselves looking at what we did in the 1600s, right? And theirs is better. The judiciary is not bound by precedent, right? And they use a civil code to find most of their laws, right? And the Constitution is largely uninvolved for most matters, right? Unlike America, where the Constitution could come up in every case, right? There should be no need to rise to a document of civilizational importance like that, right? There should be a lesser document, the Civil Code, that covers basically everything. It's pretty simple. The Vietnamese are another step forward on that. They are a former French colony that is now a communist nation, a socialist nation with a communist party. And what they do is they mix the French system with this constitutional council type thing. Well, the French have a constitutional council too, but it's like more English in their judicial style at that constitutional scale, just at the very tippy top though, right? And that's interesting too. But basically the whole thing needs to be swept away, right? That it's an opportunity, right? I am bound, the great Marx quote, that the memory of all dead generations hangs like a nightmare on the living. True, right? That we must return to the banners of the past if we wish to push forward into the future. True, right? But we don't need to, pretend that this judicial pageantry has been for any kind of good, right? And in fact, we can put new pageantry in that is influential, that is spiritually moving, right? I have two ideas. The first one is purely aesthetic. The French and the Canadians, both at their courts, at the Supreme Court level, it's different at every other level, have red-robed judges, right? And this is a response to the black-robed judges of the common law, right? It's supposed to humanize them slightly. I don't want these people humanized, right? I want it clear to them in their seat that what they've been called to do is something more, right? And so I want them to wear purple robes, which is the old sign of imperial nobility, right? That's what they assume when they sit that bench, right? Imperial power, imperial right, imperial. But that's just, aesthetic. It's just purple. It's not going to do anything. But I have other ideas. The judges in France are allowed to go on fact-finding missions. There is an adversarial system set up in the Commonwealth, right? Or in the common law, including America, where the defense brings a case and the prosecutor brings a case, and they fight each other, and the judge decides, right? It's one tension And one tension is easily broken, right? One arrow easily snapped. The system of prosecution and judicial oversight is a joke. It's a complete joke in the commonwealth, in the common law system. That the prosecutors are always conspiratorial. The judiciary is selected for their weakness, for their submissiveness. I've never seen them hold a prosecutor in contempt or mandamus charges against a police officer, and yet they're completely unaccountable gangsters. They're out there being seditious thugs, and this weak judiciary just does nothing, right? And so one arrow can be snapped. We need more tensions, and so we need more relations, right? Because I can't just have the judge press in on both the prosecutor and the defense. That's not a real new relation, right? That's just rewriting the old relation, and the old relation will hang like a spirit, like a ghost, right? It's no good. New system, right? Any judge, while they sit the bench, I believe, should be prohibited from speaking publicly, and that they have a hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil kind of assistant program, right? I'm actually kind of inspired, I'm going to admit this freely, by a 40K character called the Silent King, right? And upon his failure to his own people, he took a vow of silence and now only speaks through his servants, right? It's very interesting. It's very powerful. It's very poetic. It's full of pageantry, right? And that's what the judiciary should be about. It is about a show of justice, right? A pillar, a support beam of belief, right? That the kids, when they see it, they believe that the adults are trying really hard to get things right, to get things just, right? And so this hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil system is just a memory jog for me, right? But they will have basically unrelated titles, but there should be an investigator's office under the judiciary, right? That is their complete power, right? Armed men with power to use warrants, not the power to create warrants. There should be some kind of orator that sits in front of the judge and asks the questions that the judge might have. They can type the message to their orator, but also can provide a second opinion, right? If someone else is pushing on somebody, right, it allows you to devote more time to just focusing on the thoughts, right? A lot of judges inevitably end up involving themselves in a process that should basically never hear them speak, because the process is stupid, the process is broken, right? And so if they have their own person that they can prompt to ask any question that they have burning within, right, but then also has, a man of their own, a valet of their own fighting for their interests in that matter, it will force different relations between the prosecutor and the defense, right? So that's hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil. And finally, and this is going to be very controversial, but there needs to be a feudalization of these powers, right? I am most inspired in the Roman world by people like Diocletian and Cincinnatus, right? We have to take the power up to set it down, right? And the only way to do that is to distribute power throughout society, right? Power cannot become this monument, concentrated pillar or obelisk. It has to be given centers like a nervous system throughout, right? So that it can rhizomatically spread and raise evenly. So they need their own power. And that means forces. That means military forces in their courthouses that they can raise and call upon, right? Not many, not a lot, but, a significant amount. A regiment, 300 men per court of appeal, I think should be fine. And then the last thing I will leave, because this has been kind of boring, maybe something a little higher, right? A little more interesting, is that the Supreme Courts, the higher courts, the courts of appeal, should be run more like the Senate from Star Wars. That there should be a ridiculous amount of members involved in every decision.
Upon my life and honor, for the peace and bounty of all beings,
Peace and bounty.
my full allegiance.
That some moron like Anthony Scalia or you know Amy Coney Barrett could pervert the laws of the land with their insipid ignorance, right? Just because they weaseled some moron into that spot, that they get to destroy the law for all 300 million people of America. That can never happen, right? And so the law must be an expulsion of the gestalt, right? There must be hundreds of people involved in every decision. There must be systems that collate and then frame the two sides of an issue, the two possible pathways forward between the liberal and the conservative bent at any point, and that they argue against each other through like a collated AI. You could have every judge submit arguments, have an AI collate them, have lawyers read the arguments for the judiciary in like some kind of play, and then they could all vote on it, right? I don't want wise sages ruling us anymore. I'm done with that, right? I want systems. I want pressure valves. I want exhaust vents. I want everything to work like a McLaren, and I cannot have things work like a medieval society anymore. We must go past the hang-ups that we have, right? The foundations made of wood must be dug up and poured with concrete. Have a nice day. Hello, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you. This channel has one mission: to prevent civilizational collapse associated with climate change, to prevent 100 million refugees by 2035, to stop 7 billion from starving to death by 2075. And we will do this through one main vehicle. We mean to unite the Anglosphere. We will do this by convincing the Commonwealth of His Majesty King Charles III to apply for statehood as one. And then with this new power, we will be able to negotiate in good faith with the rest of the world on how to tackle this crisis. Thank you and enjoy.